Kamil, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Hello, Trevor.
So we'll
My
start
pleasure.
this by interrupting you. We'll start this by, who are you? What do you do? Where were you at before starting the Resilient Strength Blueprint? And where are you at now? So 4 questions.
Yeah. So my name is Kamil. I'm 34 years old. Since 2016, I've been working as an entrepreneur in urban agriculture environment. So I've been working on my own business since that time, and being entrepreneur can be quite busy. So I have spent a lot of times just setting up everything that I'm working with right now. So currently, I'm in right privileged situation that I don't have to work as much as I worked before, but now I can use the time for training and I can use the time for other entrepreneurial stuff as well. So I also started working on some projects back in Poland when we're planning to move back. And also I'm working on my investment portfolio, which also takes a lot of time. And yeah, that's what I do these days, basically.
Irons in the fire.
Mm.
Yep.
So when I started training over 2.5 years ago. So it will be 3 years in May.
Mhm.
And before I started, I've been always quite active. So I've been doing a lot of hiking, cycling. Prior to that, I was doing a lot of downhill riding and riding on bikes. I was doing snowboarding in wintertime. I was doing a lot of fixed gear cycling. So that's another part of my activities. But directly prior to starting weightlifting training, I have not been doing much. I've been doing some body weight workouts, and that's it. Because I came to a situation when I could afford to have a personal trainer, I decided to start lifting weights. I always wanted to do it. Like, seemed fine, seemed interesting. I like lifting heavy stuff. So came around Trevor through our mutual friend, and I had a conversation with him. We had like a small session when he showed me that I basically can't do shit in terms of proper movements, and yeah, that was a huge part of it because I was always on and off gym, just having membership at regular commercial gyms, uh,
Yep.
but that was not structured at all. Therefore, my trainings were not productive. I would spend time like fucking 40 minutes on a rowing machine, just getting sweaty, and then I would just lift some dumbbells. That's it. So I was not doing any heavy compounds movement. I was not doing any lifting at all. I would just use some machines, cardio equipment. That's it. I was not capable of building any muscles. I was in shape. I couldn't complain about that. I was always had like decent cardiovascular.
Yeah, you can do shit. Absolutely.
Yeah, but not in terms of proper movements. And also, after some training sessions with Trevor, he pointed out that my movement patterns are also a little bit fucked up. So my right part of my body was not functioning properly. That was due to the work I was doing before, which was carpet cleaning, like a lot of that movement all the time, which completely numb some of the muscles and overextended some other muscles. That was biggest issue, I think, for pressing movements.
Yeah, it really impacted your pressing aggressively in the
Yeah.
start.
Yeah, but after some months of training, basically, you managed to point all those things out. We fixed it rather quickly, and
Mhm.
then the progress started. So that's when the fun part starts.
That's where the fun part starts. So let's just give an encapsulation. Let's say like that was kind of a good like 3 month. This is we got to the point where we could start really doing awesome shit. So let's look at like 6 month, year, and now. Like where are you at? Like 6 months in the program, where were you? I recall, and we checked it. Like you started at 75. 6 months in, you were 85, and just ripped out of your mind. And then on, just sort of give our viewership what
Yeah.
that felt like. What that looked like.
First months were very fun, like learning to lift like very low weights, but in proper form was somewhat challenging. Like it's so weird to think that you're relatively strong, fit person, and then you can't really do a bodyweight squat with proper form and like without breaking the form, which was fucking mind blowing for me. Uh,
Ego check for sure.
oh yeah. That was huge. But at the same time, you have to trust the process. So for me, it was very, and I like to point out that it's very simple in a way, but it's not easy. So it's very simple to like commit yourself to do something and like just go for training, do it for a certain amount of time, see the results, and so on and so forth. But it's not easy to be committed and consistent with it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a work. Uh, that for me it was super useful to have a personal trainer that I know he would be waiting there for me when I have my time set for like scheduled training. That was super good for me to be accounted by someone else, that I didn't have to really think about forcing myself to go to gym, or like, oh, I could do something else in the time. I could work, I could go on a
There's
hike,
the
or
expectation
yeah,
that you are going to show up, that you are going to do the work, and that you're going to sort of execute it well and give feedback on that.
yeah, exactly. And after every single training session, you get feedback, you get a little bit better with it, which is great. Like I like small, gradual progress. So for me, it was very like, it was a good
Perfect.
great carrot for me. Like I would just go and be excited about the next training session. So in that way, was super easy. Hard part was the ego check, and just yeah, other part. Nice people at the gym, good vibes. Like that also helps a lot. You see people who have huge progress and they are big guys and they're lifting heavy weights and they're doing it with joy and just uh, just good lifestyle that you can gain if you consistent with it. So that was first
And
several
I
months.
paused for just 1 second, and I didn't clarify that at the start of the video, but you are one of my in-person trainees. I have online and I have in-person. So the follow-up that he's talking about, essentially in person,
Yes.
we
Yeah.
emulate that exactly online. So there's a separation between those things. So I just wanted to make that clear from your context, so you didn't have to feel like you're parsing different things. So continue, please.
Yeah. So that was like 3-4 months when I was just learning how to lift weights, and at the same time, I would just clean up my diet and make sure that I'm like working actively towards gaining muscle, and
And
that was
lean muscle.
yeah, that was quite important. I do a lot of intermittent fasting and I like to fast for longer periods of time. I had to adjust that. I had to adjust the amount of calories I'm eating. I had to adjust the
Mhm.
amount of protein I'm eating. So that it's a like steep learning curve, that there's a lot of things to be adjusted in order to get good results. For me, it was easy. I like to tweak my lifestyle. I like to tweak things for me to work better in what I'm doing. So that was something to be focused on, which is also nice.
You also trusted the process,
Oh yeah,
gave
yeah,
feedback,
100%.
made sure you continued to trust the
Mhm.
process, and that allowed you to invest in these small ways. From what I saw,
Yeah,
you immediately saw that
100%.
this works.
In my opinion, like trusting the process is the biggest thing, because we all have doubts. We all have a lot of thought. We all fucking listen to YouTube, and every single person you watch on YouTube, they have their own ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So and as an experienced person in lifting and training in general, I would just focus on listening to you. I would take all the other things in consideration, consult it with you if I have any questions,
You asked great questions.
but
Yeah.
following your process is is just what made me to what I'm at right now. There is no doubt about it. Progressive overload, something that I heard from you for the first time. Never heard about it before. I always thought like you just have to get tired, it will be fine, which is not necessarily the thing. So a lot of concepts that we have about lifting weights and training in general, you you really get to the point of how it's supposed to be, what you should do, and you basically guided me easily on this line, like, okay, you did this, then we are here, and then we're moving further and further and further. And that's on that line, it was very easy to have small like deviations and adjustments, but at the same
Mhm.
time it was always going to the same goal and following the process. That's super simple.
Let me ask you a question, and I appreciate that because it's a big thing I like to educate people on, in the fact that if you do invest in the process and you follow the process and you have some trust in the process and its outcome, like results are inevitable. You just have to put in work over time and your results are inevitable. You become free from pain, you become stronger, you become leaner, you become more athletic, and you can maintain that. So that's a little follow-up question based off of what you're saying. Skill set wise,
Mm.
how do you think your skills are? How do you feel your autonomy is in working out in your skill sets? How do you feel about that?
Right now,
Yeah.
very good, very good. I feel competent. I can do all those heavy moves without injuring myself, which is a
Mhm.
huge issue. Like to come back to the beginning, I always wanted to lift weights and I always wanted to grow muscles, like to be fit in general.
Yep.
But at the same time, I always struggle with some small injuries. As I said, I was free riding and downhill riding for majority of my youth until the not late, but mid 20s.
Yep.
That's that is quite taxing. I had like several times broken bones, like hands, collarbones. My ankle was smashed completely. My knee was ripped from the socket. Uh, yeah,
Small injuries, just little ones. It's fine. Just
small
my knee was
injuries.
ripped
I
from
had,
the
I
socket,
had
dangling.
bones sticking from my hands and broken fingers, every single one, and all the possible places. So it's been taxing, and
Mhm.
up till late 20s, I felt great. I had no pains, no like lingering small issues and aches, nothing like that. And
Which is
then
rare AF, by the way, for all the shit
after,
you put your body through.
yeah, but after I turned 30, I could start feeling it. Like my knees were not the same. My collarbones were like a little bit hurt. My wrist mobility changed a lot because I had this like huge lump on above my wrist
Mhm.
that blocks it as well. So, and all those small things that would influence the way I feel on daily basis and how capable I feel about jumping from something. Like, for example, I like to hike, I like to walk through the woods and so on. So I don't really pay attention to all the small things. But then I like to be active. I like to be able to jump, to lift, to and not hurt myself. So that was the starting point. Like prior to
You,
like actually
you were
being,
being negatively impacted by all these things. All
yeah,
these
yeah,
things were negatively impacting your life and making it so you had to second guess,
yeah,
right? You had to second
exactly,
guess what you're doing. Every movement, you're like, wait, should I?
yeah.
Ah, shitty place to be.
Yeah, and there is a point where I talked to Aga, who is also a trainee of you, and we're like, okay, we're turning 30 now. This is like the last time to get in shape. So
Hmm.
basically, that was the main reason to get into like proper shape, not only being like lean and not really carrying too much fat, but just to have muscles that will carry my frame till the end of the
Yep.
days. So
Well said.
thanks. So yeah, so that was it. And after 6 months, I could see like none of those knee got super stable. Like there was a part of my my huge issue was if I was kneeling down or down on the ground, and I would
Hmm.
stand up like just a little bit offset, my knee would just pop out. This is not happening. This is not happening anymore, which is great. And I do deep squats like no problem, and I feel no pain with
Heavy
it.
squats.
Yeah, and I don't.
Not worrying about a knee dislocation. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
exactly. Like those concerns are gone. I of course I get sore muscles. I get small injuries from lifting, but that's the part of the process. But then you can do things to recover quickly as well, which is
Yep.
another great part of it. So that was like the first 6 months of just getting used to it, getting a little bit in shape. I also started noticing some like body composition changes. So I always had like decently developed legs from all the cycling and hiking I've done, but my upper body was just weak, and I had good core from climbing, but other than that, my like shoulders non-existing, biceps, back like very poor quality, and
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't good. And seeing changes in that was super, super good. And also doing another activities like climbing, water skiing, skiing in general, you can see you getting better in shape, and it's motivating. That's what it is. So
That capacity increase. It's leveling
yes,
up everything.
yeah. So after 6 months, I started watching more powerlifters. I started watching
Mhm.
more like powerlifting in general, or like Olympic lifting, and I was like, huh, lifting heavy weights seems very cool, very, very cool. So
Can I pause you for a second on that
yeah.
one? Because this is an awesome like stage of the journey, right? So
Mm,
you went from being in a position where you kind of walk in, you want to get in shape, and you do
mm,
have, like you say, small injuries, but a huge amount of them that could eventually and were doing some negative impact. Like a knee
mm,
dislocating is not
yeah.
an ideal thing for day to day life. And you go from a position of like, well, I would like a certain amount of capability and a lack of
Yeah.
badness. I would like to walk away from what hurts, what's pain, what's dysfunction, so I don't have to live in pain and dysfunction every day, which is a great starting point.
Mm,
But 6 months in, you've walked to the point where like, holy shit, I'm getting strong. Everything feels good. And I can do all this stuff I really was worried about before. And now
mm,
you're going to the transition of like, well, I can get strong as shit.
yeah.
I can be more than continue. I love that. I love that transition.
Yeah, that was super cool actually. And up to that point, I was not really focusing on diet that much. I would eat a little bit more. I was eating like 2 grams of protein per body weight per kilogram of body weight, like because that's what you're supposed to do. But that was it. I was not focusing on gaining weight at all. It was happening naturally, but I think it was more of a muscle building compared to losing fat from the body, and that would increase the body weight. But the size was the same.
You still gained 10 kilos in that time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I think it was like after 8, 9 months, something like that.
Eight, nine
So
months, you're 10 kilos. So you're probably at like 7 kilos at the 6 month mark
yeah,
then.
correct, correct.
Okay, that makes
But
sense.
but my size was almost the same. So I think I was just losing fat that was just lingering somewhere, and I was gaining muscles, which super nice, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, and then I was like, okay, it's time to like really put some muscles on. So I started eating properly. I started eating calorie surplus, and I was starting properly gaining weight, and also
Hmm.
some fat, which I wasn't really bothered about at all.
Easy.
But with that, there was a lot of strength gain. Like immediately when I started eating more, there was a lot of strength gain. And once you started gaining strength, it's so much fun just to put on more plates and more plates, more plates. So I just
Good while you're doing it and confident.
yeah, and I was just hooked. Like at this point, like being able to lift something heavy from the floor, like press something heavy over the head, super nice. And it still wasn't very heavy weights at all. Like it was just building to the point where I could do it. But the
Hmm.
best part was that I could feel that I could do it. So that was a huge difference. So I could previously when I was watching like heavy lifters on YouTube or like even in the gym, personally, I was like, wow, that's impressive. I would like to be there someday.
Yeah.
And suddenly there's this change that gives you like, okay, I can be there. I can be there. So it's not just the like imaginary goal that you aim for, like an ideal. No,
I
it's
wish. All
it's
this stuff's holding me back, but I wish.
yes, yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's super comforting. Like it's great feeling, just great feeling, and riding the feeling is very easy to go to the gym again and again and again and again. So
Well, gaining athletic capacity when you're hitting your mid 30s is something some people think is a pipe dream. They think this is impossible.
yeah,
They've been
that's what I thought.
by sports.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like you hear all those things about your stop, like, or you losing testosterone after you're 30, and you start losing ability to gain muscles and so on. So and you're deteriorating after 30. And I was seriously scared about that. But not really. If you've not been really lifting weights prior to that, you're fucking good. You can go for a long time. Yeah.
Exactly. I call bullshit on that whole deterioration thing.
Yeah.
I'm a year from 40 and I'm stronger and more athletic than I've ever been.
Hmm.
So,
There's a consistency to keep that. So.
exactly.
Hmm.
And that's fun. So we're kind of at the 6 month and beyond getting into it. And then like you really started packing on muscle, packing on ability, and then like being able to do everything. So in this time, we go back to like you were second guessing at the beginning movement, and you were second guessing how you were doing, and now like you're stronger, you're leaner, well maybe not leaner, but I mean, you're lean and far more muscular, far more powerful, and those injuries that were piling up and sort of starting to really aggregate. And that second guessing in life, like where were you at now? Like say we're 8 months, 2 years.
I don't think about it at all. It's non-existing. Like I know it's there. Like my knees, they will never be the same because of the shape. They are like they are damaged. Like yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I don't really think about it. I know there's enough muscle around it just to hold it in place, and nothing will happen. I also started doing some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu recently, and it's so easy. Like
shoots guys up and spits them out, but you've been good.
Yeah, no, not really. I'm being beaten up regularly, but at the same time,
no, you're getting your ass kicked. But I mean, just like in terms of like just your joints, your body, your physicality is able to stand it.
I'm going in there like rolling 100% with people, and I don't really worried about getting injured. Like that's huge. I get like one finger dislocated. That's it. Like nothing really. So it's very comfortable about that, which is very useful and also makes you confident in like whatever you have to do. You know you can do it. That's beautiful. Like
there it is.
Yeah,
agreed. That's it. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. You don't have to second guess it.
Yeah,
you know. I come from a position of being a dad, and you've heard me talk about this a lot. Like, my entire thing is being able to keep up with my kids and keep up with life, and not be just weak and shitty and having to say no, I can't do that because. And then being able to just take them and run up a mountain or run around or wrestle or go ahead and wrestle with you, who you will kick my ass, and that's fine. But like I can still do it without worrying about getting like injured or messed up. I can just go do it.
Exactly.
I can just go do whatever the fuck I want. You can do whatever you want. It's such a powerful force for positivity in someone's life, and gives so much agency and control.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, completely agree with that.
Unless you be a leader in
your life. Yeah. So another thing, like doing a lot of, we have a decently big house that, moving wood around or like chopping wood for winter, easy. Like before it was chore. I would like have to like put a time for recovery for it. Like it's just a part of life right now. Like putting extra work during day, not an issue at all. Like it's huge. Like it's really big. Like moving heavy furniture, moving heavy stuff around the house, not worrying about having a back pain or something like that. It's huge.
Not having to warm up to move the sofa. Yeah,
exactly. So that's really, really big.
Or put on physio tape to just like shift a chair, some like crazy shit like that all the time. Yeah. So, what do you think? You've had great success, and like we'll touch on where you're at right now in a bit. But like, let's talk about that first year just for a second, and then like, what was the biggest mental shift or change you made to get you success personally? What do you think?
Honestly, I'm not really a structured person. So having a structure in terms of program, that was something I would put it another way. I like structure. I'm not capable of creating structure for myself. So I'm very chaotic in my day-to-day life. I like to go with the flow and I have shit done, but it's never done in the order I anticipated it will be done. Having a structured program and having like, okay, I know this is the amount of time I have to spend a week for training was super nice. Like and another part about training, because as I said, it's simple, but it's not easy. But because it's simple, it's very easy to like incorporate it into your daily life. And because of that, it creates some more structure around the different things, which it's weird, but that's how it works. So
100%.
Yeah. So I think for me, the structure in the program was something that made me successful. And right now it's became a part of my routine. So I don't have to really think about it. I train daily now. So it's just a part of the day. I know I will go to the gym. I know I'll have work done. And it makes me feel good as well, because even if you have a lazy day, you have something that is accomplished, which is awesome.
Yeah, and it stacks those wins.
Oh yeah,
And so
yeah,
it
for
has
sure.
structure and just allows you to stack wins. And even on a bad day, you've got to win. So the next day is even better. Like you're not creating these backslide downward spirals.
Yep. Yeah. And of course, there are some days that I'm more or less motivated to go and train. But
Absolutely.
once you've done it, like, okay, I can put myself through it. It's not. It's always been very easy for me to push something I don't want to do aside and do something I want to do.
Yep.
We all know it and struggle with that. But right now, I know I can do hard stuff. They can be fun to do as well, and you will feel so much better after doing this. So knowing that after this over 2 years of training is super easy. It just became a second nature.
Yeah, and it creates that value and it creates that habit of just pushing through whatever mentality stuff you have to get out the other side and really get what you want out of it. Yeah. You brought up a good point there about sort of adaptability within the schedule, and we've changed what you do and what you want to do and some of your goals and focus quite a bit. We haven't been jumping around. There's always been structure and forward momentum towards a very specific goal, but the goals have changed in your process. So when you started, did you come in at 2 times a week or 3 times a week? I don't remember.
4 times.
When you started in the gym?
Yeah. It was 4 days a week.
Was it 4 days a week when we started?
Yeah. It was Barbara was twice. I was 4 times.
Barbara was twice. I thought you were 3.
No, I'm sure I was 4 times.
Okay, great. That's fine. And we're keeping your workouts within an hour, those 4 times a week. And as you were progressing, so you went from sort of the start state of like, I am a bag of brittle bones. This wasn't that bad, but
basically, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Don't want to be too much of a dick here. You know who I am. I am a dick. But, not everybody knows that yet. Now they appreciate that. So bag of brittle bones to like holy and couldn't like second guessing stuff to holy shit, I'm feeling better and I'm moving well and I don't have to worry about my fucking knees dislocating when I'm standing up, which is kind of a big deal. To from there, that sort of 6-month span to that 8 months to a year long span of being like, holy crap, like I'm strong and I'm powerful and I don't have to do any like worry about anything. But we shifted your programming about a lot through this as you evolved. We changed things to suit your evolving needs. So because you started there and then at that year point, you're like, well, I want to get bigger and stronger. And then you moved into, you kind of want to do the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu thing. So we had to change over what we were doing there.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I have had some ideas, and I ran those ideas through you, and you accommodated my changes like immediately without like really complaining about it, which is nice because, and I think it's in a way it's also a bit hard for you because you have like I tell you one day I have a specific goal of lifting heavy, and you're okay. We have to create a program for it. And then I come a few months later doing this program. Like, hey, you know what? I'm starting doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Can we do something to accommodate that as well? And it's because of what I have in my head and what I want to do. And I just lay it onto you and I get the ready program like a few days or a week after that. It is quite amazing. I would probably, if I had to do it myself or if I like do reading, internets, whatever, it would take me months or years. And I would probably fail at that because you're always thinking for yourself a lot.
Yep.
So this is a great part. And I've never been in the situation when I could lay off a lot of work on someone else and I'm doing it at you and it works perfectly fine for me. And I'm achieving those goals. That's the
point.
Yeah. And it is kind of amazing because I still want to do both things. I still want to do powerlifting and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I had some injuries related to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I had to like put it on pause for a while. But now, because of that, I can spend more time lifting weights. And you also changed my program for that from going 4 days a week. I'm doing 7 days a week right now, which also accumulates more work. If I going back to Jiu-Jitsu, then I am capable of doing that because I'm working out every day. So
and teaching those skills for autoregulation for you specifically.
Yeah. Yes. So it is amazing how easy and fluent it is to, because we have ideas and we follow those ideas, but we always vary from, or like deviate from our initial path. And
Hmm.
you're following, and you're like, okay, we have to do this, we have to do that. You're always there in the woods, like chopping the branches and making the path more clear, which is amazing. That's takes away a lot of, maybe not stress, but a lot of guessing work, a lot of uh, well, basically something I wouldn't be able to do by myself, especially in such a short period of time. So it's really amazing. I can't stress enough how useful it is to have someone like you to just go there and say, "Hey, we're doing this now." And you're like, "Oh, fuck, okay, he's again.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're doing this. Okay, we're doing this." It's great. It's really really great. Yeah.
It creates the vehicle and it creates the path to get you where you want to go.
Yes. Exactly.
And I mean, that's kind of been the nice thing with you. I mean, none of your goals, if you were like veering way off course, like, oh, I'm gonna do this all of a sudden, and you were all over the place, we would have locked you in a bit more. But all of your goals have been congruent. It's
Mm.
just the big thing is you got strong and you
Yeah.
got athletic. And then you
Mm.
wanted to, you went from dysfunction to strong and athletic to wanting to express that athleticism because that's what you were used to when you were younger.
Mm.
And that becomes important, right? For the whole journey, for the whole positivity, for
Oh
the
yeah.
whole structure to work is for you to actually be able to express and use what you've worked for. Because if you're like, otherwise, what's the point if you're not going to use it? If you're not going to use it in day to day life, like, why would you put in the work? You want to use it.
Mm.
And so it becomes our job and my job to make sure that everything is structured so you can continue to do everything without having to think too much.
Yep.
And I'm happy to do it because it's so cool to watch you succeed. It's so cool to watch all clients succeed, but it's really, really wonderful to watch people succeed who have been in a position that is relatively sort of negative with their physicality and then have such a massive total transformation. You know,
Yeah.
it's what's kept me in the industry for 15 years.
Yeah.
If I didn't have that, I would have been out of this in the first couple of years, like most personal trainers are. What, 90% of personal trainers leave within the first year? I've been here for 15 years. I either hate myself or love working with people.
Yeah.
Maybe both.
Probably both. Probably a little bit of both.
Nah, you make it worthwhile.
Mm.
You make it worthwhile. I had another question. I can't remember what that was. Let's just talk about community a little bit. I work hard to make the community that we have in the gym work online because I find it so important for people who have similar goals or even dissimilar goals in similar contexts to sort of be able to engage with each other. It's why on the online I do the weekly calls and the community work, and in the gym it's easy because we're there. But both of them feel very similar to me. So give me a note on community. You know, you've been around us for 2 years, so give a note on community and what that kind of means to you.
It's just great people in general, and everybody from different walks of life. You have people that are like 20 years old, and you have people that are 60 years old or older than that, and they all come together, and they all have something to chip in, which is great. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. We in daily life we tend to kind of stick to types of personalities we mingle with, and we kind of have our own like social bubbles even, and we easily to ostracize people that we don't agree with. That's super easy. And then you have all the people in the gym that usually you train at the same hours, so you meet them week to week to week, and then all of them, they're super different. All of them, they have different ideas, they have different political views, and they have different views about life and world in general. And all of them, they're valuable. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've always been kind of open person to be able to see people's ideas, but at the same time, those you have common goals. So everybody comes to the gym to achieve like better physicality, and if even that's a shape, mobility, whatever they do, or rehabilitation, but they all have the same like common goal. So it's easy to bond around that and then discuss different ideas about the reality that we have. And this is
Mm-hmm.
happening. Like ideas about having a stupid muscle heads in the gym. It's I guess it's happening in places, but I am yet to meet one in our gym or like in the community you created. So it's huge. Like it's really really big. It opens your mind as well. So that's very nice. I enjoyed that part a lot. And of course, like you have guys that train longer and they're much stronger than you, so you can follow their like track every single day we're discussing about, hey, what are you having for dinner, and then you have dinner ideas. It's
There's advice. You're not doing it in a vacuum, right?
yeah, exactly, and it's crazy, but there are small interactions that you have basically can fill up your social needs for the whole week, or like for the whole day that you have. So I
Yeah.
work alone. I don't have like peers to work with. I'm running all the show alone, so I'm here with my wife, and then I go to gym, and this is my social life. In yeah, more or less. But I'm not.
I mean, otherwise you'd be a house troll. I get it. I'm a house troll. I get it.
Yeah, I'm not a very outgoing person. I don't like to party and mingle with people in that environment. But the gym is a good environment to mingle with people. So that's about that. Super nice. Really enjoy that part as well. And also, you see people who are heavily motivated to do the work, and also motivates
Yeah.
you to do the work. So that's also great.
We have something to compare ourselves against in that environment. We have
Oh yeah,
we have the environment, we have the community, both places, online and in person, to
yeah,
push ourselves. We see people succeeding,
yeah.
and we say, like, even I've seen some of your success, and I've been like, well, I can't let him surpass me within this time. I've been doing this shit longer. Like okay, I gotta step up my game. It even keeps me, my communities, they keep me engaged and they keep me processing and moving forward. But one of the nice things, and one of the things that when we talk about the people stronger, it's just the lack of judgment
Oh yeah,
in the
yeah.
communities.
And
It
everybody
doesn't
is
matter.
supportive. Like a lot of times you have people coming with some issues to the gym and just talking them openly, which is like also like mind blowing. People are just opening to complete strangers in the gym. Great, like really, really, really fun environment to be with very good, compassionate people. So great community, like in general, really, really nice people.
It's good. I'm of course happy that it's been valuable for you, and you're
Oh
very
yeah,
valuable to it. So, and that's a big thing. It's about that lack, separating that disconnection that everyone is experiencing, that dissonance from environment,
yeah.
and really creating a shared common platform, um, to be able to talk about these and converse with
Mm.
these things. We do it in person, in the in-person gym, and then online we mimic that environment. That's been so important for me to replicate that
Mm.
for
Yeah.
other people, and create that platform in which people are able to have those interactions and have those talks and see
Mm.
other, everyone else is going through similar shit, right?
Yeah.
We all struggle. We all have issues. We all have mental, emotional, and physical problems.
Of
We
course.
all have stuff that wants to drag us down.
Yeah.
But the only thing we can really do is we can live in it, and we can live in the suck, or we can get the path to move away from the suck.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's a big part and component of the environment and of the training and of what we do, is to move away from what sucks into true functionality.
Yeah. 100%. Yep.
No.
And another great part is that once that every single person in the gym is very supportive. Like if you have small achievement, if you PR'd or if you did something great, everybody's cheering for you, which is super nice. But the
Feels
second part
good.
is that you have people that, let's say you're doing an exercise and then someone's passing by, hey, you can do heavier than this. I'm like, oh, okay, I can do it. And it's small pushes, but very, very useful as well. So that's nice. I enjoy that part as well.
Or Jonathan's go-to. Have you tried trying?
Yeah. Oh, that's a perfect one.
Yeah, I'll do better. Like every time I hear that, I'm like, oh, I half-assed that, didn't I?
Yep.
Send him a video of a training thing, and he's like, no, have you really, dude? I'm like, okay, I'll do better.
Yeah.
Bastard, I love you, but so yeah, and okay, so let's talk on it like real quick, because I keep talking about it, but I haven't brought it up. 2 years in, almost 2.5 years in, where are we at? I mean, you are getting strong as shit, and you have some goals. Where are you at there?
Shit. I have goals, but I aim high in terms of the weights I want to push, and I know I'm capable of doing this. This is just about the amount of work I'll put in. So, fuck, I see that people are capable of lifting very heavy things, and I know I'm capable of doing that as well, and that's my goal.
Yep.
I know I will. So there is no stopping now. That's for sure.
Say it out loud. What's your deadlift goal? What's the number?
300 kilos by the end of next year. So
Yep.
we'll see about that.
Yep. I mean, barring any change of course, that's what we're working. That's what we're working towards.
Yeah, of course.
And I think it'll just like the whole rest of the process. It'll be organic. It'll be natural. They'll have to put in extra work when you want those high level goals, but
yeah, sure, that's fun. Like one thing about the gym though that I noticed and I realized when I started, and every time you go into a set, like the last heavy set of the workout, and it's heavy, like you're really pushing yourself to the end. And I was like, okay, one day I'll be capable of doing that easily, and you are, because it's the weight you've been lifting last week, so it's getting easier and easier. But you're putting more on the bar, so it's always the same. Like uh, understanding that the amount of effort you will have to put in will be always the same. The only thing that's changed is the amount of plates on the bar that you're pushing or moving, whatever. It's great. Like in a way, isn't good allegory for life when you have always think that once you move to a new place, once you start this new job, once you start it will be so easy. It never is. It's always you're just pushing the bar further and further, or like you're putting extra plays on the bar. And having that realization makes your training much easier, because you always can add more. There is a limit on the bar, but you can get a bigger bar or whatever. It's there is no, the struggle will always be the same. You always have to put in the same amount of work, but the results will be better, or you will move heavier weights. You'll be capable of doing something harder and stronger in your life. So I think that's like a huge, basically, life lesson. So it's
sorry, I can finish.
No, go ahead.
It's there's a good quote around that, or a good statement around that. When you're under pressure, you don't rise above. There's no capability to rise above. If you could have rise above, you would have done already. But when you're under pressure, you rise to the level of your training.
Yeah.
You rise to the level of your actual capability. And that's the thing. You're always going to be sort of putting in the same amount of effort, but your capability massively increases. So like day to day, when you started, you could have deadlifted like 70, 80 kilos. It would have been kind of, but you could have done it. Now day to day, like if you, like literally on your shittiest day, if you just had the flu, walked into the gym, you'd probably be able to pull 180.
Oh yeah.
So your level in chaos has massively increased. And I think that's the other allegory I like. Like it just gives more capability for more stuff. You're always putting in the same effort, but your capability for everything else increases.
Exactly.
You have more work capacity. You can do more lifts. You can do more stuff. You can just do aggregation, twice, 3, 5 times what you're able to do in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
That's holy shit.
That's huge. Like, and also if you look at how it was 2 years ago, what it is now, and then you hope it's going to be better in the future. So there's a very clear view, or like overview of what you've done and what you can achieve, which is also like good way of keeping yourself accountable and mobilized to do work in the future, because it's possible. You've done it before. So this position where I'm at right now, it's super easy to train. Like
clarity of purpose dictates action.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's cool. I remember you saying at the start, you said, "Hey, I become focused on things for like a year, like maximum 2, and then I'll be done. Then I'll be done." And that was at the start, and that never came up again after the 6 months. Clicked over. Never came up again. Because I think of all the things you've talked about, of that increasing capacity, that ability, that clarity of purpose and action, makes it very easily, as you said, sustainable.
Yeah, I think a huge part of it is there is, like, if you learn new stuff, you have the learning curve, right? And it's like getting steeper and steeper, and then you have the S curve, so it kind of S's on the top. I think in gym, like, the steep learning curve is very, very, very steep and very long before you get into the S curve on the top, when you're like working on the last 2% to get perfect. it's years before you get there. Everything else in life, it's kind of like, for me at least, like 2-3 years and you're up there, like just
Yeah.
bouncing around this 2-5% on the top, which is like, you really have to put a lot of effort in order to achieve those last 5%. And in most cases, it's not worth it. I think because the learning curve in gym is like steep and it goes further than anything else, you can actually get engaged in the process of lifting weights for years and possibly for life, because
Yeah.
there's always something to get better at.
Yep. And that, I mean, that's my journey. That's your journey, and I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So here, I got kind of a final question for you here.
Yeah. Sorry.
What advice? Yeah, absolutely.
A little cold running. It will not stop me from getting to the gym today.
Oh no, I've got the same cold. My throat feels like absolute garbage, but I still lifted this morning, and this is why I'm drinking tea, which is about 90% honey. That's how I do things, you know. So, what advice would you give to someone who is stuck, like at your start position? They're beat up, they're injured, they've been active in the past, and they want to continue being active, and they've tried a bunch of things, they've tried a bunch of quick fixes, and it's left them at a position where they feel, I don't know, maybe like they don't know where to go, kind of where you started. What advice would you give to them?
Just start. Like that's as simple as that. It's very easy to overthink stuff, and in terms of, okay, I have to do this, I have to buy like gym clothes, everybody's buying the Fitbits, or it. Gym is a lifestyle in general, and you can. I think a lot of people want to build their life around the lifestyle instead of being or like living the lifestyle. So it's very glamorous right now. Like you see all the social media and YouTube, Instagram, everybody's pushing gym and physical culture, and it's everywhere. Like it became mainstream, which is great because it's accessible for more people. But at the same time, it's just about putting in work. So just start, see where it takes you, and it will change within half a year, especially if someone's been active. I think it will be very easy to get into the groove, because like if you like skiing, if you like
changes, we talked about it, the vehicle changes and they have a methodology that works and will follow them and get rid of those issues. Exactly.
But it's just as simple as that, especially if you know that the process of working out works. Like you've been hiking, skiing, doing anything, you get better and you enjoy the process. Starting gym is just a different activity. It's fun. Like it's really, really, really fun. I know for a lot of people it's hard work and like they have to force themselves to do it. But at the same time, if you talk to the same person who's been complaining in the beginning of the workout, like, hey, fuck, I don't have time, I don't want to do this, I want to go home and eat ice cream. And by the end of workout, they're happy, they're like elevated, they have endorphins going. And you can see it in every single person. So that's huge. That's it's simple. It's very, very simple. That's it. Just start lifting weights, start moving around, and it will get there. And because we're so used to instant gratification, that's you don't really get that in the gym. There's like small wins every single time when you are at the gym and you're lifting weights. There's always a small win that you can like kind of attach yourself to it. But it's a long game. You're really working for your life, not for...
True change takes time. True change takes time.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, it's nice to have those goals. Oh, I want to get... This summer, I will get in shape. Probably not. Like, let's be honest. Most people who are saying that are not getting in shape for the summer.
True.
Yeah, because then you have very short period of time that you have to do it in. You have very high set goal. And then in the process, it's not like you will see the changes. Like you wake up one day, it's like, oh my God, I'm so ripped.
Yeah.
No. So just love the process. And also gym is one of the things that you can really like live in the moment, because you have to deal with the like load of the lifting weights right at the moment. You have to like work on your breathing. You have to work on recovery right after. Sometimes you get a little bit dizzy, or like you feel like you're gonna pass out. You have to deal with that in the moment. It's not like you can put it off. So it kind of teaches you to enjoy right this moment, and it's going to pass, or you're going to go through it, so on. So another great lesson from it.
Absolutely. Kamil, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you.
No problem.
And looking forward to bringing you to 300 kilos. That'll be kick ass. Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
All right,
man.
dude. Have a good day and enjoy the gym today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. We're still here.